Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the stream. So the saloon is in the process of being finished off, but today I am just wanted to work on something random and simple. I don't know if I'm actually going to use it, but just wanted something a bit different, honestly. So I'm just going to make a random thing today. We'll see if I use it, we'll see if I don't. But here we go. Okay, I'm thinking that it might be easier if I did it this way. I think the first thing I need to do is make sure that it's even on both sides. So I need to select everything. So I need to see through. And there we go. Wait, there's a question. I realize I'm doing this in an unnecessarily complicated way. I could just press E. I thought that would mirror on the other side. But there's a question. Now when I press these, does the... only the first one moves. Okay, I won't do it like that. What happens if I do? Yes, my sweet fuzzy boy. What's wrong, Theron? Come sit on your chair. Okay, he's just saying hi. Hello. Okay, how is the best way to do this? Um, hmm. I think just doing what I was going to do. So I wanted to move this to there. Which I'm realizing I could have just taken. No, I still need that on. Yes, they're on. What's the matter? Do you want cuddles? Do you want to come sit on my lap? Come then. Okay. There you go. Is that better? Still have complaints? Yeah, such a good boy. Right, okay, so this is the wrong way round. Let's go for faces. Take this one and extrude it. I feel like there is enough. And what I might do is if I press this one and this one, if I extrude you and press Y, so it's along the Y axis, just to there, and then there we go. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, this. Wait, do I need to take all of them? Let's try a little experiment. Ah, no I don't. Nice. So eventually I will have to add a face in here, but I can just join these together at the moment to give me the shape of the room that I'm trying to get. So let's move to this. Okay, so I need walls, floor, just some nice temporary colours, I think. Let's go for a... Yeah, perfect. So walls, floor, trims. Yeah, wall, floors, trims. I'm going to keep it that way. Slightly off-white, I think, for the trims is the way forward. So let's just take all of that. That's floor. That'll be a trim. Didn't mean to do that. Meant to press. Nope. Still pressed the wrong one. There we go. And let's get back to this. And I just should probably be looking like this so that I can just select. I've selected the floor backs and I don't want that. I'll just change it back. Do that and let's make that a trim. Okay, let's... I think I'm going to... I was thinking of rotating it, but I think the better thing to do would be to actually move... There we go. Lovely. Right. I'm pretty happy with that. So now, actually let me create a new collection. Let me put that, that'll be room. And then I'm going to add a, how should I do this? I think bit by bit. Let me add a cylinder. I'm going to keep this slightly bigger than it needs to be, just to make it slightly easier to work on. Because sometimes I find that sometimes I find that I cannot zoom in as much as I would like. I'm going to turn this off because I just want to there we go. Let's take this, set it down. maybe to about there. Now, there's lots of different ways I could do this. I could definitely just create this in a different, so like add a circle and create this that way, which, you know, that would be fine. And then I would use my favorite modifier that I'm always talking about, the Boolean modifier, and I would just ask it to join those two meshes, excuse me, together. But I don't know, sometimes, especially when you're doing it for kind of like a creative intent. Whoops, wrong one. That's the one I want. There is a great joy in the manually doing some of these things, but there are definitely faster ways to do this. But, you know, sometimes for me, it's just about the process. And I don't necessarily always need the fastest method. I'm definitely a kind of process over kind of fast-paced results kind of person. Which is one of the reasons I really love kind of like working in Blender and streaming and working collaboratively as well. I haven't had a lot of chances to work collaboratively, but whenever I end up doing like a game jam, I absolutely adore it. Spam call. Fun times. But yeah. But I wish I did more collaborative game jams. I definitely don't do enough. I really like to do more like interactive fiction ones, but I'm still working on my kind of like fiction writing in that terms, in that kind of like narrative way. And yeah, I feel like I've got a lot to learn in that sense. And yeah, it would be nice to work with someone who maybe would like to do more game stuff and doesn't have the kind of 3D modeling or designer skills. That would be really, really fun. I'm always kind of on the lookout for potential collaborators. Because I suppose there's also the like point of expanding your portfolio and kind of having done things, because that is one of the challenges now when you're looking for not just creative work but any type of work, having those years of experience that they want. And I think that sometimes there is an element of, if you can demonstrate that you do have the knowledge and the talent, there are some places you can go and people that will be willing to kind of work with you and look past that kind of arbitrary, you must have this many years of experience, you must work with these companies. Because often people will have like adjacent experience, they could definitely pivot to what the job is asking for. And sometimes it's about knowing how to actually kind of, I don't want to say sell yourself, but it is a kind of advertising your skill set, shall we say. Like, for example, I sometimes talk to people who say that they haven't had any kind of like line management experience, but then they've worked with people in kind of like a tutorial sense, or they've had to help people who started at jobs after them, kind of show them the ropes and show them around. It's like that's part of line management. And then even like the elements of kind of sharing with them different tools that they could use and how to upskill themselves if there's something else that they would prefer to be doing. It's like that's also part of it. And like some people have worked on things like the Prince's Trust, where they've kind of done lots of things there, and it's so interesting that so many people are so talented and maybe don't have someone to remind them that they do have more experience. And I do wonder how many jobs um, they've applied for where they have left off that experience, which, so easily done. And especially in the current job market, that, it's not completely about leaving off skills, because it's just very tough. There are a lot of kind of like fake jobs out there that are kind of generated in order to scam people in some way. Usually they're the ones that look too good to be true, or are providing too, like, the pay looks too good to be true usually, or the process, or they don't have like an attached company that you can look up. But often, people are going through so many rejections, and not even rejections in the sense of you didn't get it, just in the sense of you never heard back, so you don't even really know why they didn't pick you. Like, what was it that other candidates had that you didn't, or like, you just don't know. And then there's also kind of like lots of people end up using kind of like AI, which means that then a lot of applications tend up looking almost identical, because AI kind of has certain words and phrases and grammar things that it likes to use quite frequently. And so then you end up looking, your CV ends up looking, or your application ends up looking like everybody else's. And I'm no expert, but this is just like the things I've come across. The job, like hunting for a job, is in itself a very unfun job, and a kind of like means to an end, and it can get very, very depressing very quickly. So I can completely understand why people start to use AI, thinking, it will be easier and all of that jazz. But it then doesn't set them apart. But then, even if you're not using AI, you get kind of like tired. It's hard to bring that passion to each new job application, especially after not hearing back from previous job applications. But yeah, there was a very long ramble to just say that people are definitely more talented than they realize, and there's so many things you can do, but it's finding those things. And then also it's finding those things, and then finding that thing that you can do that brings you, I say that brings you joy, but like, there's also a choice I think you have to make. And that choice is, do you want to do something that you're really, really good at but possibly don't enjoy, or do you want to work for passion and do something that you can't imagine living without? Because there is that element that not every hobby is kind of like susceptible to become a job, unfortunately. And you know that that is kind of like a statement that you can make, but at the same time, if you put in the work, like, almost anything is possible. But there is a lot of luck involved in that, and being able to like continuously research as the times change and things move on. So it's not impossible, but it's definitely a choice you have to make, kind of like where to focus your efforts, especially as like all of the things that are required and the experience you need. And sometimes for certain things you need qualifications, and sometimes it's experience over qualifications, and sometimes it's qualifications over experience, and sometimes it's kind of like you need to have the qualification and you need to have the experience. And it really does depend on what field you're going into. And then of course this changes so drastically, so quickly, when times just move on, and you have to kind of pivot those skills that you've been applying and cultivating into new new skills or new areas. And that can be challenging in itself, especially trying to work out, what are my skills, where do they best fit, and how can I pivot those to new areas. And again, I feel like so many people are so talented and just don't realize how talented they are, and that's, I feel like, the real shame. But yeah, right, so if I assign you, oh, I didn't mean to do that. Let's move back to this. There we go. Okay, let's, nope, 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 yes. There we go, and inside. Now I'll leave the other one. Okay, so and let's add this. Let's assign that, and I kind of want to make this sort of dark brown. There we go. A bit rougher. There we go. That still feels a little bit too big. But I do think this is a little bit too short. Okay, I'm quite happy with that. The thing I will do is, what is this? This is I will add a new collection, and I'm going to add light, and let's add a let's add a point light. Okay, let's make that yellow and call that light. Let's go into this, go to edit, let's take this, turn that off, this, let's add a face there, and make sure it's that, and let me move this that way. Okay. Substitute okay. And let's do. No, I think I need to do it for this one. There we go. Let's. Wrong button. So let's make this nice and straight. Okay. Okay. Let's add a cube. Let's not add a cube. Realized I have not been saving this. So let's save this as there we go. Let's oh that's going to annoy me. I should deal with that. Okay. Let's go back to here. Let's add a cube. That'll do. That. Yeah. Job hunting is not fun. Actually, I won't do it that way. I'm going to do it. So let's go up. Right, so if we do this and we move this thing, go to here, go to here. No, that's the one I want. let's do it like this. Right, and let's take you, you, and you, and we'll do this, and then I'm going to go here and put it back to this. There we go. Right, let's do this, and then this, and this. That should be perfect. And I'm just going to press there we go. Okay, that'll do. Let's take this off. Let's press this. Right. Okay. Now, how best to do this? Mm. use a cube again. Yeah, cube seems right. Right, let's add a cube. Let's call this desk, even though I've called those table. That's a desk. Oh, I realized I didn't need to subdivide it. I could have used a modifier. I could have used... Is it this one? Well, that's neither here nor there. I don't need it. What I need to do now is think about... Yeah. I may have upset Blender. Oh, these things happen. I didn't actually mean to press that. I meant to press this one, decimate. Now it's trying to remember the last time I saved. Let me check the task manager. Okay, we lost the desk. That reminds me, I don't think I've reset, because I downloaded Blender again. I don't think I've set the, how often it should be backing up. So that's definitely something that is a good idea for me to redo when I have a chance. Oh, that was a shame. I liked that desk. Oh, and the wall's back. Well, never mind. That was my own fault. I think I'm going to end the stream here, but I will have an update for what happened to this scene in my Patreon if you want to see what happened to it, and if I can get it finished, it should be available either to purchase or just to my paying Patreons, or both. We'll see. But thank you for watching and joining me, and I hope to see you in the next stream, which will hopefully be some digital fashion stuff. Bye! I'm off to